the amount of money that you're paying for, you're not getting what you've paid for. In other words, you're thinking you bought the game knowing, oh, I can do whatever I want. If I want to go and create a franchise and I want to play it because I want to max out my character as quickly as possible, because guess what? I could have done so in the previous games. Now that's taken away from us. And it's taken away a lot of the creative spirit that gives, let's say, content creators the latitude to, take a team and let's see how far you can take them, because the forward progression, you have control over it.
Right.
But now we're seeing a massive difference. And that's where I wanted to jump in, because I know like everything you're saying in the context of content creators noticing, fine. But let's talk about it from the context of the player itself, right? The player is feeling as if things are changing and they're not getting what they originally paid for. Like if you told me, hey, the new version of college football is going to take away features but add on features with a paywall, I would say I don't want to play this game because I don't want to spend more money in order for me to get full value of the game, versus if I grind it out, then I'm never going to get to the full potential of the game because it's not built for me to do so in the first place. And so now we have this problem where you have committed fans that are willing to put up the money, $70, $80, even upwards of $100, but then they're getting hit with more and more reasons to spend and spend and spend. And so it creates this spending culture that I would see from a live service game, but yet you're charging people AAA first time or early access release prices, right? I feel like EA, they need to come to terms of what they want this game to be. If they want this game to be live service, fine. I don't have a problem with the game being live service, but don't charge $70. Don't charge $80. Don't charge $100 if you're going to treat the game where the only way you can actually play it and beat it is by spending more than what you intended to in the first place. I think this is just another example of a bait and switch to the consumer where you're thinking, wow, I'm getting all the features that I thought would exist from previous editions, and then now they're taking it out and they're putting in bullshit that forces you to spend more money. It's just a really abusive way to keep their customers in the fold, and players are getting tired of it. It's not just content creators complaining about it. I mean, yes, they have the mics, yes, they have the platforms, but it's not just the creators, it's the players. You know why? Because when players were like, oh, this is what's happening, I'm not buying the game, or when early access numbers aren't as high as it's supposed to be because people don't want to play the game, people are protesting not just from the platforms, people are protesting with their wallets, and they're not spending money for shit that's just basically bamboozling them to spend more money.
And also, too, when, going back a little bit to the content creators, Bordeaux was the one that spearheaded this whole thing. And when he did that, this large, hashtag went about, EA pay don't play. So EA decided about a week later to respond, but it was so half-assed. It was like a here nigga damn type situation where they removed the microtransactions.
I don't necessarily think that's the case. I'm going to correct you, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to correct you because it's not oh damn, I hear you. No, they were going to do that shit regardless if we complained or not. I think what EA is doing is that this is going to happen regardless of whether it happens this year or future seasons. The only reason why they pulled it off is because the early access numbers were low, and it's impacting future progression of future purchase when it's fully released. And so from a investor standpoint, they needed to appease their fans by temporarily changing the way that they wanted to do this. I'm telling you, they're going to do this next year. This is going to be normal. So if people are going to complain about it every year, guess what? Don't buy the fucking game. Don't buy the game. Because I don't think that next year they're just going to forget that what happened this year is something that's going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to continue with this model where we won't have any XP progression. What they're going to do is they're going to bring back XP progression the same way they normally have. They're just going to put a price tag on it. They're going to charge people for accelerating XP progression in the future, right? The same way that they're putting paywalls already on XP progression in Madden, right? The reason why we saw this in the first place was because EA was trying to align both games, Madden and College Football 27, to have one XP progression that is slow as shit, so it forces people to spend money to up their XP. They already have this in Madden. So all of this shit that Bordeaux and everybody was complaining about with college football, when I saw this, I wasn't surprised because they already did this already. It's now just falling into college football, and people are getting pissed off because college football was the one space where you wouldn't have to think, if I'm playing Dynasty, I don't have to worry about this issue.
Well, because like I said,
but it's fucking EA, so you can't be surprised that what they're doing to Madden is going to fall into other places like college football.
No, you're right, but you know the fan base and the content creators do have a right to be upset because
no one is saying that you can't have the right to complain. I'm just surprised that y'all are complaining about something that's already happening in Madden, right? Like when everyone got surprised, I wasn't, because I'm like, this is happening in Madden. It's just falling now into college football. Do I think that's the right thing? Do I think that in Diablo Inferno, in order for you to max out a character, let's say a paladin, that's going to cost you $500,000 to max out your skill tree, do you think that's fine? No. Do you think it's fine that in any game you have to pay to win? No, I don't think any model like this is acceptable. But is that the state of gaming? Unfortunately, yes. And so, it comes down to what I just said earlier. The only way that these companies are going to learn is when we stop spending money on these games itself.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, and I see what the fans are saying. I do see your point where, look, EA has been already implementing this since Madden, right? I think one of the reasons why a lot of the college football community was complaining because, again, like you're putting all these microtransactions in offline modes when you're just playing the computer in the sandbox. It's just a computer. You're not playing online. This is not an online dynasty. This is an offline mode where you're playing against the computer in your own sandbox, creating your own universe. And now you're trying to monetize that.
You got to understand something. I think that the way that this game is now designed to be, it's not designed to be a single player experience anymore. It's not built for that anymore. What it's built for is you are a player that is going to compete against somebody else on this live service type of gaming model, where it's more about online engagement, which means you're playing your dynasties in the cloud, you're playing Road to Glory on the cloud, you're not really paying a lot of attention to offline. They are trying to force you to do everything online so they can charge you for more experiences that will enhance the overall experience of the game. And they can't do that by getting you offline, right? They got to do this by putting you on a live service environment so they can find ways to force you to pay to enhance your experience. And I think that's the trickery. Let's be clear about something. And I'm just going to step back for a second, not necessarily about college football, but just in video games in general.
Okay.
You got to note that companies like developers, publishers, they always wanted the last laugh in terms of who has ownership of the games we play since the age of the arcade, right? When arcade games were created in the 70s, these games, like for instance, Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or Tetris, were never made for you to beat the game. They were made for you to trip somewhere, so you spend more money and more money and more money for you to continue the forward progression of the game. And if for some reason you were able to do that, it's because you're part of the 1% that can ever play a game like that and even complete it.
Yeah.
But that's not the entirety of the gaming community. So these companies are living off of the idea that you're never going to beat the game, nor will you ever own it. And we're going to make you spend so much money like you own it, it makes you feel as if, yeah, that's my game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at consoles and we look at these games now coming to the home console, video games started to become more programmable in a world where, okay, how do we try to get more replay value out of our games?